Hello, everyone. I'm Tara Alemany, founder of Emerald Lake Books, and welcome to another episode of Emerald Lake Books Live. We've been doing this since the beginning of November, and the idea here is we're just here to answer questions that will help you to significantly build your business or brand using a book. And so, actually, today, that is going to be our primary topic. We're going to talk about kind of the groundwork that you need to lay in order to be able to build your business using a book. And so we're going to start first with the fact that if you know you want to write a book that is going to be part of your business model, you need to figure out how exactly the book is going to fit within your existing marketing plan. And that means that you need to be clear about who it is that you want to attract, what problems you're solving with what you have to offer. And you want to figure out, is this an entry point into a sales funnel, or is it a low ticket item in order to not lose people who might otherwise drop off of your sales funnel? So you kind of want to think through all of those different things. And as you are, you'll see that the book actually can fit in a number of different places in a marketing plan. So, for instance, it can be the entry point to how people are introduced to you. It can be something that, if you have high ticket items, high ticket clients that you're working with, becomes a bonus that you give them as part of the sign up so that they understand the process that you're going to take them through. So there's all sorts of different ways to position it. So you want to kind of think about where in your marketing plan the book is going to fit. It also can be kind of some people use it as a glorified business card. You can send it to event planners that you might be interested in working with or speaking for, all sorts of different things that you can do there. So you need to figure out first how the book is going to fit in that plan. And you want to make sure that what you write is written specifically for your ideal reader. Now, when you are using a book to build a business, you want to make sure that there's an alignment between your ideal client and your ideal reader, because you want to demonstrate the fact that for your ideal client, you can solve the problems that they have, or you can guide them through a process that helps them to get from where they are to where they want to be. And so when you make sure that your ideal reader is aligned with your ideal client, then you're already going to know a lot about who your reader is. You're going to know why they turn to you. You know what they're looking to you to learn or solve. And so that gives you some ideas as to potential topics that are going to be appealing to that particular audience. And so the next thing after you've done that is you want to kind of think through the content that is going to appeal to them. And this can come from looking at their path of transformation. So, for instance, you know that ideal client, where they typically start working with you and what they're going through at that time. And you know what they're looking for in terms of what they want to accomplish at the end of working with you. So that is a path of transformation. And what is the process, the step-by-step process that you take them through in order to get from where they first meet you to where they want to be? Now, a lot of people who are coaches or they're trainers, they're a little leery about putting everything that they know into the book, but I encourage you to go ahead and do that, because the people that are going to actually reach out to you and engage with you after they've read the book, they're the people who love what you have to say, but they want your help to figure out how to apply it to their unique situation. It's not that they don't understand what you've told them, but they don't quite know how to bridge the gap between what you've told them and what they need to implement within their day-to-day life. So don't hold back. Provide them with lots of great content. Include some success stories of people who are just like them, who you have worked with, who have gone through this path of transformation and what their outcomes are. Because in providing these success stories, you allow your ideal client, your ideal reader, to see what the potential outcomes are. And sometimes they're unexpected. So, for instance, we often talk about Lionel Binney, whose book, The Future of Omnichannel Retail, was originally intended to build his consulting company. But one of the unexpected side effects was that a lot of universities started picking up this book and using it in their marketing program. As a result, there are a lot of students coming out of university who know who he is because they've studied his material. And he actually ended up with an opportunity to become an adjunct professor because of it. Now, that wasn't part of what he had set out to accomplish, but because he was open to the opportunities that presented themselves as a result of his book, and he understood the transformation that people needed to go through from where they first encountered his book to where they wanted to be, he was able to take advantage of some opportunities he hadn't expected. So when you include those inspiring success stories, it opens your reader's eyes up to what are some of the other possibilities that maybe I'm setting out to accomplish this one specific goal in reading this book, but maybe there's other things. Maybe there's other benefits that'll come out of the in the end. So you want to kind of plant those seeds. You also want to include in the book somehow an invitation to reflect on what they're learning. Now, that doesn't mean that the book has to become a workbook and you have to have questions and answers in there or anything like that. But the major issue is that oftentimes people will pick up a book, they'll read it, they'll learn everything in it, they'll consume it, they'll put it down, they'll go pick up another book, they'll read that, they'll consume that, they'll put it down. And they never actually take action on the things they've been learning. So as a result, they end up never really getting anywhere because all they're doing is consuming information and they're not applying any of it. And that can become a big trap for some people sometimes is they want to dig their way out of a hole and they think the more information they have, the easier it'll be to dig their way out of that hole. And they never actually get around to doing anything about the hole itself. And so you want to make sure that you're reminding them that this isn't just about consuming and digesting this information, but it's really about putting into practice. And so provide opportunities in the book for them to reflect on it, even if it's just to remind them to think about how they might use this in their own life. It's not that they have to sit down and write it. Maybe they have a conversation with an accountability partner or a best friend, but those are going to be important reminders for them because people tend to follow along the path you've set them on, and they're reading your writing. And in reading your writing, they don't diverge from that path. And so they don't actually start thinking about it and how does this work and what would this look like in my life? And so encourage them to do that. The other thing that if you want to build a business building book is you want to make sure that you have bonus materials in there and not just any old bonus materials, not just, sign up for my newsletter or things like that. But there are specific things that we highly recommend you include in your book. And that's actually going to be the topic of next week's live stream. So tune in next week if you want to find out what some of the business building tools are that we recommend you include in a book. But the important thing there is you want to think about that in terms of, are you going to be using those bonus materials as a means of building your mailing list or getting people to reach out and connect with you or to learn from you further? Or there's all sorts of different things you can do there. So you want to make sure that you're clear about what would benefit your business most in terms of the engagement you invite them to have with you. And of course, that takes us to the final business building bonus, the material that I would recommend you put in there is you want to make sure that there is a call to action in some way, shape, or form to work with you. Now, that could be for some people, it could be an invitation to have you come speak to their group. For others, it could be a VIP coaching session. There's all sorts of different things that you can do. And so you want to just make sure, though, that when they reach the end of the book, it's not just, okay, the end, they close the book, they set it down, and they move on to the next one. You want there to be some call to action that encourages them to take what they've learned and start applying it and look to you for further guidance so that they continue to learn the information that you have to share with them. And so those are the kind of things that you're going to be looking to include in a book when you're writing it. And so as you're first getting started writing the book, you want to make sure that you're structuring it in such a way that allows you to do that. So oftentimes the structure that we'll start with when we're working on a book is essentially you want to make sure you have an introduction at the beginning that talks about what they're going to learn. So tell them what they're going to learn, and then teach them what they're going to learn. And at the end, you want a wrap up that is going to remind them of what they've learned. And so oftentimes when we tell people that are coaches, we'll have them take their ideal client on a path of transformation that's 3 to 5 milestone steps. And so typically we have that introduction. We have the various chapters that represent each one of those steps. There may be interspersed chapters that have more information to help them along the way, and then the conclusion. And within each chapter, you kind of want a structure that's going to provide the narrative of what you have to share with them, provide that inspiring story, that example that illustrates what you are asking them to do, and then a wrap-up piece of information. So that kind of becomes the overall structure of your book. And so I hope you have found this piece of information useful to you. Of course, we want to see everyone successful who wants to be able to use a book to build their business or brand. And if you need any help, we are always here for you. As I said, next week's topic is going to be the best bonus offers to make within your book because we find some work better than others. And so you want to keep in mind, as I said, what you want to accomplish, but kind of what are some of those things that you might not have thought about including in your book. In the meantime, thank you for tuning in. I hope that you've enjoyed this Emerald Lake Books Live. This is episode 12. And if you have not already, I ask that you please subscribe. We air this show every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you subscribe, of course, you'll get the notifications the next time I'm going live. Until then, be well.